Hi everyone, welcome back. So it is basically end of year exam season for me, and I don't know about you, but I have officially run out of ways to study normally. And so I'm finding myself using slightly unhinged methods to focus and study. These are like last resort kind of things, okay? They're not gonna be like, wake up early and study at the same time each day, or like do a Pomodoro and reward yourself. No. Those do not work. What I'm going to share with you is what you need to do when you've hit academic rock bottom and you need to somehow still figure out how you're going to study and learn everything you need to learn and pass, okay? So tip number one, it has to start with your mindset, okay? What you need is a toxic motivation, right? So I'm thinking like, think about someone in your class that really pisses you off, or think about someone that said that you weren't good enough, okay? Think about them and keep them in your mind and use them as your motivation, okay? You need to study to be better than them. I know people always say like, oh, find your inner purpose, search for that intrinsic motivation and use that to study, but that doesn't work, okay? Let's be honest here. And who knows, you might even end up having a little nice academic rivals to lovers, enemies to lovers arc along the way. Okay, if that doesn't work, the next thing you can do is write up your tuition fee in like big bold writing, okay? And on a big piece of paper, I don't know, on a sticky note, and stick it somewhere in your direct eye line, wherever you study, and remind yourself every day that you decided to be there. You chose that lifestyle and you are literally paying to learn. And so you might as well sit yourself down and start studying, because otherwise you're just wasting money. Just drop out otherwise. Okay, the next tip is if you're getting way too distracted in your environment, what you want to do is drive yourself to a random location, okay? And lock yourself in your car, hide your keys somewhere in your car, and make sure you hide your phone as well. And you just get in the back seat. Hey, no funny business, just you and your laptop, okay? Or you and your books, your paper, practice exam, whatever it is. You get in the back seat and you do that exam, or you do whatever you need to get done, but you lock yourself in the car. You don't let yourself leave until you finish that task, or you have studied enough to the point where you're so hungry or you really need to pee or something. The other thing you can do if you have a car, which is a little bit psychotic, is you can drive around your neighborhood in like complete silence and then pretend like you're talking to someone or like actively teaching someone some topics. So you can practice your active recall there. But key thing is that you're not anywhere that you're gonna be distracted, okay? And you need to be going around neighborhoods that you're familiar with, otherwise it doesn't work, okay? Now, if you don't have a car, don't worry, I have another tip for you, is study in the bathroom, okay? Take whatever you need, excluding your phone, into the bathroom, lock yourself in there, and then get whatever you need to get done in there, okay? Whether that's sitting on the floor, on the toilet, in the shower, maybe not in the shower, maybe in the bathtub if it's dry, just sit there and get your work done. Trust me, it works. I don't know why, but it works. The other like kind of toxic mentality I have when I study is I don't use Pomodoro, okay? I don't reward myself. See, I feel like if I do that, after one cycle, I'm just gonna reward myself for the rest of the day, right? So that's so counterintuitive because you're not actually gonna get everything you need to get done. Instead, what you gotta make sure you do is you enter the flow state. And the way to do that is you need to get over the first like 10, 15 minutes of studying, and then you get into a point where you're just functioning and you don't even realize that you're putting in effort to study, right? So it's just the first 10, 15 minutes of study that you actually have to get past. So to make sure that I actually get into that flow state and I don't get interrupted by a Pomodoro, what I like to do is I like to starve myself. Okay, I don't mean literally starve myself. I just mean I set out with a task that I have to complete and I make sure that I only get to have my lunch if I finish that task, okay? Now, sometimes I'll be a pro and I'll finish that task within an hour. Other times, I'll be there working until 3 p.m. to get that done because I was procrastinating. But hey, that's the consequences of your own actions. So another thing you can try to enter the flow state and stay in that flow state for as long as you can is to try those things where you study until the candle burns or until the ice melts. Or even a new one that I've seen around is studying for however long your screen time is. For example, if we use this, my screen time today was 5 hours and 19 minutes. That's pretty high, okay? And so that would mean tomorrow I force myself to study for 5 hours and 19 minutes. Okay, next tip, if you find yourself getting distracted and overstimulated all the time, I have like a counterintuitive tip for you. How about you just sensory overload yourself to the point where everything just fades into background noise and you can focus on your study. Okay, that sounds a little bit vague. What am I talking about? What I mean is play like Subway Surfers, gameplay or like Minecraft gameplay, or like listen to Mario Kart music while you study. I find this especially useful when you're like spamming Anki. We're all a little bit dopamine addicted, so why not just use it to our advantage, hey? Okay, so I recently learned a fact that your brain consumes like 20 to 25% of your body's glucose intake because it's just functioning that much. Now, think about it this way then. If you are actually using your brain and studying, that means that your brain needs fuel. It needs sugar, okay? So what you can do, you can have like sweet treats, little glucose tablets, anything for that hit of sugar while you study. Treat yourself like a high performance athlete, okay? If you're gonna become an academic weapon, you need all the fuel that you can get. Personally, I find that I like sour gummies and sour straps because apparently that helps your brain focus because you get distracted by the sourness or something. Try it for yourself. That works for me. The next one is a little bit less unhinged, but it works anyway. I want you to get a random wheel generator and put in a bunch of different tasks, okay? You want to put in some chores that you really have been putting off. You want to put in some really annoying physical exercises, so like burpees, push-ups, holding a plank, I don't know. Something that will tire you out, okay? And then thirdly, you want to put in like whatever study tasks that you need to get done. And then you spin it, and whatever it lands on, you force yourself to do. Trust me when you do this and it spins and it lands on holding a plank for 60 seconds, you realize how much easier it is to just watch your lecture, okay? I don't know. I know I said we're gonna be high performance athletes, but like mentally, not physically, okay? Okay, so the next one kind of only works if you wear glasses or contacts or are a little bit visually impaired like me. What you can do is, if you're feeling overstimulated and distracted by your environment, just take your glasses off, take out your contacts, and just sit there and practice active recall, okay? Because what are you gonna say? That blurry poster is distracting you? No, it's literally the perfect way to be less overstimulated. So this one I kind of use more in my undergrad, but it's this one video of this guy pretending to be a strict Asian mom, and he comes in and like checks up on you every so often to make sure you're studying. When I put that up on YouTube and I have that playing as I study, I feel like I'm being watched and I'm forced to focus. It just does something in my head. You can try it out for yourself. I'll link it down in the description below. Hey, it works for me. It might work for you. Okay, so the last 2-3 tips I have is if the issue is you're always on your phone too much, or you're doom scrolling, or your brain is so dopamine addicted and fried that you can't go more than 10 minutes without touching your phone. Okay, so what I want you to do is give your phone to your friend or like a stranger, the librarian, I don't care. Just give your phone to someone and tell them not to give it back to you until you finish your task or until 2-3 hours later, okay? Now, obviously if you're gonna choose a stranger, make sure that you choose someone that's not gonna take your phone and run away. Trust me, the shame that you'll feel when you realize you are itching to go back and ask for your phone within like 20 minutes, like that in itself will get you to study, okay? So if you're too shy to go ask someone to hold your phone for you, what you can do is time-lapse yourself studying, and that will put your phone to good use. You don't have to show anyone, but hey, your phone's occupied in that moment and you'll feel really accomplished when you watch that study time lapse and see how much you focused. And if you want, you can even go and start a study live, I don't know, and get your friends to join. Last tip for the day is the night before you're planning to study, I want you to use your phone until it dies, okay? Dead, like full battery dead, not even 1% left, it's turned off, okay? And then I want you to put it away somewhere, not in your room, somewhere where you literally will not see it, okay? And then the next day when you wake up, I want you to just roll out of bed, don't think about your phone, don't even go charge it, and go study in zombie mode. Straight out of bed to your desk, and we're gonna study. This one I've done many times because if I don't start my day off right, I end up procrastinating the whole day. And so I've just let my phone die the night before and then had a sleep in, but woken up and gone straight into doing some lectures or some Anki, and it really helps for me. So yeah, some of these tips might be slightly unhinged, but trust me, these tips are tried and tested and they work. See, it's really unrealistic to always rely on motivation or stick to a really rigid study schedule. And so I usually resort to using a bunch of these throughout the exam season to spice things up and keep things interesting, you know? So try some of these and report back to me. Let me know if they helped, if they worked. And if you have any other unhinged tips or tricks or anything that you do personally that helps you focus, then let me know, because I'm always keen to try new things. And if you're also in exam season, then good luck, you got this. I'll see you on the other side. Anyways, that's all from me for today. I might do a little study with me vlog in the future, but for now, I'm gonna doom scroll on my phone until it dies and then have a great study day tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.